integration. Okay. So this is a x momentum equation reduced to this. Okay. And we still have the boundary condition have to satisfy. So our boundary condition is y equal to 0 on the bottom wall, because since bottom wall is stationary, so our u is equal to 0 on the bottom wall. And then on the upper wall, y equal to h, our u velocity field equal to our boundary velocity, because our boundary on the top is moving with the velocity v, with velocity capital U here. So we do this. So you do the integration, okay? Partial p partial x, okay? You can see partial p partial x here is you can assume this is a constant, okay? So this is a constant. We do the integration, okay, and apply this two boundary condition to find out two integration constant, okay? 我们会积分2次以后，把 y 积分1次得到一个 constant，y 积分第2次得到第2个 constant。So we integrate twice of y, so we get two integration constant. And by using these two boundary condition, we can have these two constant. Okay, by substituting into these two constant into our solution, it become like this. Okay, that's the coefficient velocity flow field. Okay. And this flow field is more general. As you can see, there's a pressure gradient term. So the first term here is the velocity profile due to the pressure gradient. The second term here is only u times y over h, right? So that's a velocity field induced by our upper wall. Right? Upper wall is moving with a capital U velocity. Okay. 所以这个地方我们两项跟我们以前所学的口译 flow 有点不一样。我们以前所学的口译 flow 没有 pressure gradient term， 就这一项。所以 So we have two terms here. Okay, one is due to the pressure gradient, and one is due to the moving wall on the upper surface. Okay, so this is our velocity field. Okay, so we can integrate u as integrate from in y direction from the bottom wall to upper surface. Okay, so this gives you the volume flow rate per unit width. Okay. So this is, once you integrate, you can, by using this integration, okay, from 0 to h, you can get this. So this gives you the volume flow rate, okay? So usually, okay, this volume flow rate is a constant, right? Because for any flow direction, okay, so this argument here. Okay. We have two wall. One is the velocity. This is stationary wall, right? So this is the Q here and Q here should be equal, right? Continue equation. Okay, and the section 1 and section 2 should be equal. So any Q should not change with x. Okay, so Q is a constant. Okay, so Q is a constant, as you can see here. All this is constant. But dp dx is also a constant, right? dp dx is also a constant. So we can conclude. Previously, during the integration, we assume this is a constant. Okay, this is dp dx is a constant. We can prove this is dp dx is a constant due to this. Okay, we can double check. Okay, our conclusion is correct, right? dp dx should be a constant for this flow field. So our pressure gradient is a constant, okay, for this flow field. Okay, so we can plot, okay, okay. First, with only dp dx, so upper and lower surface is a fixed or stationary. 我们可以去画图，对不对？ According to this formula here, we assume this u, capital U is equal to 0, and then you reduce to this velocity profile. This velocity profile is due to the pressure gradient. So this is parabolic velocity profile, your undergraduate. Okay. So this is a velocity profile between two flat plates. Okay, stationary two flat plate. So capital U is equal to 0. That means our upper wall didn't move at all. Okay. The second case, okay, we assume there is no pressure gradient. So there is no pressure gradient. That means this term, okay, dpdx is equal to 0. So we don't have any pressure to drive this, okay, to drive this flow, okay. So we don't using any pressure to drive this flow. So only the velocity field will generate because of our moving wall on the upper surface U here. So our velocity is equal to this. This give you this flow field. Okay, this is linear. Okay, Uy over h, right? Uy over h. Okay, at different y location we have this velocity. So this is the coil flow you learned before, right? Only on the upper surface without any pressure gradient. Okay, so without any pressure gradient, dpdx equal to 0. Only the upper surface moving. We have this velocity flow field. This is second case. So this is the coil flow, plane coil flow. It's a linear velocity profile. Okay. If you combine both of these, okay, consider more general. Okay, the general mean we have a pressure gradient as well as we have a upper wall is moving. Okay, moving wall on the upper surface. Okay, so if you see that, okay, depend on your pressure gradient, dpdx. Okay, as you can see here, dpdx. Okay, if this is a negative value, that means our pressure gradient is decreased with x, right? So this is x direction. Okay, this is y direction. dpdx negative value, that means what? Pressure is here is higher, here is lower. So pressure is P1 and P2 here. Okay, section 1 and section 2. Velocity decrease. Okay, great. So dpdx is the negative value. Okay, so negative value give you what? Pressure is higher here, lower here. So our flow should be forward, right? Because the pressure, velocity flow field is always flow from what? High pressure to low pressure. Okay? So our Q should be positive, right? So dpdx, when dpdx is negative value, times this negative sign here, give you a positive velocity, positive flow rate. Okay? So for this kind of pressure gradient, dpdx is less than 0. We call this pressure gradient is what? Anyone know what's this pressure gradient? Favorable pressure gradient. Favorable pressure gradient. There's a special term for this. Okay? Favorable pressure gradient. Okay? So we call this is a favorable pressure gradient when dpdx is less than 0. So dpdx, okay, has minus sign here, give you this capital P. Capital P, when capital P is greater than 0, we call this a favorable pressure gradient. Okay, favorable gradient. Vice versa, okay, if the capital P is what? Is less than 0. So dpdx is greater than 0. Okay. That's the other case. dpdx pressure gradient is greater than 0. Vice versa, right? P1 is lower, P2 is higher. So we have what? We have the pressure gradient give us what? Reverse flow, right? And however, the moving will give us forward flow. So there are two contradictions, right? 一个要往前，一个往后。Okay, depending on which one is stronger. Okay, so we have depend on our velocity, our pressure gradient. If the pressure gradient is a positive sign here, is the same direction between our u velocity and the pressure gradient all push to forward direction. That's meaning in positive x direction. So our velocity profile is here. Right? This should be when our pressure gradient is equal to 0, that reduces to our coil flow, right? This is a linear velocity profile. When our pressure gradient is less than 0, pressure gradient is a large, we say this P, capital P is a minus sign of the pressure gradient. So minus sign of pressure gradient become negative. That means our dpdx is positive, right? And dpdx is positive, we have a reverse flow. Okay, flow direction is reverse. Okay, have a reverse flow. And not always reverse, okay. 把它画清楚，我刚才讲太快 ，okay. If the pressure gradient is a positive sign here, so we have our velocity profile will look like this. This is linear, right? And we look like this, right? Okay. Okay. Here is a so stay positive. Okay. Depend on how strong of this. Okay. Eventually, if you have a very strong, you may end up with they have a small value of negative flow. Okay. So what I mean is what? What I mean is okay, we have a velocity field for a certain pressure gradient. And this for this case we have velocity. But sometimes we have this. Whatever. Some part of the flow is forward, part of the flow is reverse. Right? Depending on how strong your pressure gradient. Okay. So when you have a P less than 0, for this P is definition here. Okay. So it's minus dP dx. Okay. When less than 0, sometimes you have a negative flow. Okay, depending on how strong it is. But the upper here may be positive sign. So one is the forward, one out of reverse. Okay, so dP dx, when dP dx is greater than 0, we call this kind of pressure gradient is adverse pressure gradient. So this is adverse. So you have to be familiar with these two terminology. Okay. One is called the favorite pressure gradient, dP dx is less than 0. dP dx is greater than 0 is reverse pressure. Okay. 中文翻我们常看到叫逆向压力，对不对 ？Okay, this is adverse pressure gradient, dP dx. Okay. Adverse pressure gradient here. Okay, so that's a coil flow. Okay, very simple example. Okay, one of the exact solution we have find. Second, okay, position flow. Okay, position flow is the flow within the pipe. Okay, within the okay. So we have the any geometry. You can have arbitrary geometry. We have the circular. We have the elliptics. Okay, any kind of this kind of flow inside this tube. Okay, we will try to find out velocity field inside this tube. It's called this position flow. Okay, again, okay, we assume this is steady state. We don't consider the intermittent flow, steady state, and then we have the constant cross section. Okay, that means cross section didn't change. We don't have any cross section, sudden increase, sudden decrease. Okay, only the cross section is all constant. If you are circular, all is the same circular. If you are elliptic, all this tube is elliptic tube. The cross section shape didn't change. Okay, with constant cross section. Okay. Again, okay, this is our what? This is our x momentum equation we reduce to this. Okay, very similar to our previous example for this. We only have pressure gradient and we have a partial. Here we have the Laplace equation, right? Laplace u equal to 0, and so nu times Laplace equal to our partial p partial x. Okay, and we don't have any v velocity, so partial p partial y again is equal to 0. So our equation is reduced to this. This is what? This is the Laplace u is equal to 0. Okay, Laplace u equal to 0. So this is Laplace operator, Laplacian operator over the closed section. Okay, over the closed section. Okay, so very similar to the previous equation. We always is for closed section velocity here, velocity profile here, and velocity profile here didn't change. So partial u partial x is equal to 0. Okay, that's always true for this kind of the flow field. And we apply this, okay, to the cylinder coordinate. So this is the cylinder coordinate, okay, r theta. So in order to find out the r theta value, I think it's here. This is the cylinder coordinate, right? We have a continuous equation. We have a r direction momentum equation. We have a theta direction momentum equation. We have a z momentum equation, okay. But since this is two-dimensional cylinder coordinate, we don't have any z at all. Okay, and all this Laplace here. This is Laplace here. Laplace here will be for the cylinder coordinate r theta should be equal to this. Okay, you can find out in the textbook. Okay, appendix or textbook. 在我们的书最后面有这些坐标的。Okay, 有 cylinder coordinate. Okay, this is a carbon equation for cylinder coordinate. Okay, so for this flow field, okay, we don't have any u theta and uz direction, right? So u theta, uz direction is all, so continuous equation reduced to this. Okay, and with a steady state, right? Partial t equal to 0, right? And since our ur, we don't have any r, okay, partial r, okay. Let me check. So partial theta equal to 0, right? This is partial theta. The theta direction we don't have any change, okay? So this term is equal to 0, okay? And for this, okay, this is different, okay? Because this is rotational cylinder. We have to go back to this, okay? This is only, so we have only u direction, okay? So the flow, the carbon equation reduced to this, and then u direction. So if you using the coordinates, cylinder coordinate system, this should be reduced to this. Okay, so that's the carbon equation we should have. Okay, so this is u velocity is r direction velocity. It's u direction velocity, x direction velocity. I'm sorry, this is x direction. Okay, so that's a u velocity. Okay, for this case, so we have to satisfy this carbon equation. Okay, so how do you get this equation? I think you have to go to here and try to evaluate each term here. So we did have this term here, right? Low ur partial r. So we have this term here. So low ur partial ur. So that's just, let me check. It's supposed to be here, partial r, partial theta, r theta, okay? Okay, no, we don't have this term here, okay? We don't have any bit. So only term we have is this term here, okay? This term and this term, a little mistake. No, okay, I make mistake totally. Since our u velocity is the z direction here, okay? So this equation you have to use in this is this instead of this. This is the r direction velocity, right? This theta direction is this. So for this coordinate we have is a z direction, right? And z direction. So this equation here, x direction here is in the z direction, okay? Okay. 所以这个地方你要搞清楚坐标 ，okay? You should clarify. This is for the formula. If you're using the formula here, u direction is our z direction here. So with the only equation we will use this equation. Okay, the rest of the equation doesn't matter. Okay, and only this equation. So this is our u. Okay, we don't have any ur. We don't have any u theta. So only term left is a partial p partial z become partial x and equal to plus mu Laplace u. Okay, Laplace u will be using this, right? So this term here. We give you this, okay? Give you this, okay? Okay, try to do that, okay? By your practice a little bit, okay? I will give you this equation, the complete equation. For any specific physical problem, you should able to reduce to what? Reduce to this equation. For example, for partial flow. Okay, you should able to do that. Okay, so that's our carbon equation. And we have a boundary condition. Boundary condition is what? On the wall surface, since this is stationary wall, so u is equal to 0. And then at the center, okay, at the center our u should be finite. It's not infinity, so u should be finite. And as well as du dr should be equal to 0. Okay? What's du dr mean? Du dr is this slope here. This slope du dr should be flat, right? Everything is flat here. So du dr, the center should be equal to 0. So that's the boundary condition we should have. Okay? Next 10 minutes break. Okay? You go back to here and try to solve this solution based on this boundary condition.